2 a.m. now. There are huge question marks that are raised against the South African government and its ability or inability to actually run government, because recently we've seen this thing happen time and again, over and over again, where we've got a government that messes up, and we always pride ourselves in the constitution of this country, saying that this is one of the best constitutions in the world. And again, one issue that again proves the fact that the government, when the government acts unconstitutionally, and we're talking about the AARTO Act, we're talking about the demerit system that has now been declared invalid and unconstitutional by the High Court. So it's back to square one on road safety efforts. After this AARTO ruling, we've seen opposition parties welcoming this court declaring the AARTO Act is unconstitutional. We've seen organizations like OTA, Organization Against Tax Abuse, saying that AARTO is basically dead in the water after they took this matter up with the court, because the court has basically ruled that this controversial new driving laws are unconstitutional. We heard about this law coming into effect in July 2022. So again, a government that just seems to be messing up over and over again. And just to understand what this court declaration means and why AARTO is constitutional and invalid, we speak now to Ashref Ismail, founder of FleetMax Africa, a fleet risk management company, and former RTMC executive director, enforcement co-ordination. Ashref, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to you and welcome.
Jazakallah so much. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Knight. It's always a pleasure to chat to you and to, of course, get an opportunity to interact with our listeners as well.
Yes, now this High Court declaration about the AARTO Amendment Act, and we know there was a lot of discussion, there was a lot of debate with regard to this planned demerit system for traffic offences. And again, this was relating to safety and road safety and, for many other reasons. But again, what we find is the incompetence on the part of the government, where basically, they came up with this act, talking about this act, but when one looks at the judgment again, we find that this is now a huge victory, not only for OTA, the organization undoing tax abuse, but generally for motorists. Just your comment on the outcome and what the court has declared, Ashref.
Brother Knight, yes, absolutely. It's a dark day for government yet again, particularly within the traffic fraternity. If I can just rewind the cassette and take you back, Brother Knight, you'll recall that the demerit system was mooted back in 1998 already. So it's going to be almost 25 years in gestation. And really, it's unbelievable. Like you say, incompetence, ineptitude. We talk about all these things. And then, of course, the level of corruption that's going to render this demerit system completely unusable. I tell you, it's shocking. I'll tell you something. Let me just tell you now, because I've been in the system, and I'll just give our listeners some feedback. The AARTO, the Administrative Adjudication of Road Traffic Offences, is a demerit system, and not very different to many other demerit systems around the developed first world countries, right? So we sent back in 1998, back in the late 90s, teams of people that went to Europe, went to the States, went to Australia and New Zealand to see exactly how their systems operate. And when they came back, typical of South Africans, with all our consultants in place, etc., we chose the most difficult system, the most complicated system, which, in our situation where we have cooperative governance, national, provincial, and local authorities, basically saying that at the end of the day, each tier of government has its own level of autonomy and authority. And it's on those bases that the High Court has declared the AARTO system in its current format as unconstitutional and invalid. Now, clearly, this is a major smack across the faces of the people. We have put up an agency within the Department of Transport known as the Road Traffic Infringement Agency together with the Road Traffic Management Corporation, the two partners that would obviously oversee this rollout. And, it's like I said, it's been delayed. Where did you hear of a project that has been in gestation and in a pilot form for more than 15 years? We had the demerit system in Tshwane and in Johannesburg Metro, both of these metros who were totally against it. And I mean, there you are. We can see clearly that indeed now the High Court has pronounced on it as well, which means these guys have to go back to the drawing board. Is it going to be another 25 years? Sadly, I'm not sure about this, really.
Well, Ashraf, I think the bottom line is, does the government really care? Does the Department of Transport really care about road safety? And we've seen the Transport Minister, Fikile Mbalula, over and over again, time and again, talking about road safety. But we see a lot of arrogance coming on the part of the government. And one of the criticisms or one of the major concerns with regard to the AARTO regulations is they are more geared towards revenue collection rather than promoting road safety.
Brother, you hit the nail on the head again. And this is the sad thing. Sadly, in South Africa, road safety, the issues around priorities of road safety, if they were serious about it, all they had to do was to look at two major things. Number one is the drink and drive situation, particularly over weekends, where the Medical Research Council affiliated to UNISA have told us on numerous occasions, deal with the issues of drunken driving and drunken pedestrians, especially over weekends. You will reduce the fatality rate by more than 50% nationwide. The other thing is get the seatbelt wearing rate up. It's something simple. It's something very, very easy, ineffective. There's very, very effective. Something that you can do without having to think twice. And clearly that is where we can be doing. These are low-hanging fruit, but you can see they've got neither the will, the courage, or anything. When last were you stopped at a road traffic operation at a checkpoint? When they stopped you, they check for your driver's license, they check your vehicle license. They don't even check the vehicle fitness, whether the tires are in a good condition, brakes, or shock absorbers, or any safety critical factors. So you can see that clearly this is not an intention of theirs. Our government is all about revenue creation, revenue generation, and road safety is the last thing on their mind. They know also that through the AARTO system, they're going to get a lot of people who currently are not paying the traffic fines to start paying up. Because if you don't pay up, your license will be delayed. They won't update it. They won't renew it. And any transaction that you would want to do through the e-nature system will effectively be blocked. So they want you to pay up. It's got little or nothing to do with road safety, but everything to do with revenue creation.
Well, definitely. And I think also, when one looks at opposition parties that have now welcomed this decision, and what some of them are actually saying that, although the main objective of the AARTO Act was to make sure that roads are safe, and but what we found, and statistics are actually showing that drivers have become even more reckless since AARTO was implemented in some of the provinces.
And you see, another thing, Brother Unite, we must also refer to is international best practice, international studies. Studies overseas have shown that in many countries, just before a demerit system is introduced, the level of lawlessness is very high. The moment the demerit system kicks in, within 3 to 5 years, the lawlessness reduces, but then the graph starts to go up again. And now we're talking about countries that are developed where the level of corruption is negligible. Now, can you well imagine, just put yourself in the shoes of a scenario in South Africa where a driver who has just been pulled over for maybe his fourth infraction for the month, and is now sitting on 11 penalty points, meaning one more penalty demerit point, and his license will be suspended for 3 months. That could endanger his job. It could endanger the fact that he now cannot drive, literally. Okay, what are you willing to pay for that? I mean, many people are loath to go and sit for a learner license system if their license has been cancelled, or if they have to go for a complete new license, bearing in mind the backlog at traffic testing stations as well. So the corruption issue, the traffic officers are waiting, hands rubbing their hands with glee, waiting for this to come. Because I mean, guys are going to be willing to pay big money. It's not going to be lunch money anymore. It's going to be mega bucks to get out of a situation, a sticky situation like that. So already, that's why associations like AARTO, the Automobile Association, etc., all saying that you have not applied your mind within the South African context. The intention might be good, but the execution is very, very poor. And the fact that they can't get it off the ground from a legal perspective, I think it's going to be one of those stalled cases like we have with the e-tolls, which within a few months, as embarrassing and humiliating and all the money, the effort, and the time that has gone into investing in this project will probably just die, a stillborn death.
Exactly. And I think the key issue here is, the government have become a law unto themselves. Instead of liaising and talking to the experts, talking to civil society for meaningful input. And this is exactly what AARTO has been also saying, that they need to listen. They need to listen to input given by organizations like AARTO, like civil society, and at the end of the day, to give the public that warm feeling that the government is serious about road safety and saving lives.
It's so simple. It's not rocket science, brother Inai. There are so many role players, stakeholder groups within the transport, road safety, the law enforcement fraternity in South Africa. If you engage with the correct groupings and get everybody around the table, explain your vision, the aims and objectives, and which areas are open for negotiation, and get everybody's buy-in from point of conception, you then sit with a winning situation where everybody have bought into the solution. Nobody can break, whether it's the taxi industry, the transport freight industry, whether it is interest groups like AARTO, AA, etc. Everybody has signed in, and they have then come up with a national blueprint for dealing with road safety, in a holistic and comprehensive manner. And of course, we've got lots of expertise internationally. South Africa is a signatory to the United Nations World Health Organization, the Global Road Safety Partnership, etc. There's so much. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. But unfortunately, like you said earlier, we sit with a government that is inept, that is incompetent, and on top of it is arrogant. They don't ask for help. They don't listen. Now they will listen. They have no choice because the High Court, they're going to probably step them hoping to the Constitutional Court and probably get a whooping there again. But at some point, you've got to say enough is enough. It's the same thing like we had with e-tolls. It's the same thing that we had when the metro police were established as well. And now, of course, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all that it's taking so long. And number two, we're not anywhere close to seeing finalization. When we heard them declare that by July 2022, the third and final phase will roll out, I said, that I want to see. And exactly as I thought, it hasn't, and it won't be happening.
Well, Ashref, Jazakallah for that and for your time. It's going to be quite interesting to see if the government does appeal and whether this matter is going to go to the Constitutional Court. But for now, we thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for your time. Have yourself a great Jummah, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ashref Ismail joining us this morning and talking about the AARTO system, which has now been declared unconstitutional and invalid. It was expected to become fully operational in July 2022. The time is just gone 8:45. We come back. It's time for Jummah Inspirations.
Every 60 seconds, a silent pandemic